Marina adjusted the strap on her shoulder bag and walked through the bustling corridors of Zephyria Station's central market. Fluorescent signs flickered in 10 languages above her, advertising alien wares from across the sector. She moved with practiced confidence, ignoring the curious stares of taller, scaled, and feathered species that parted slightly as she approached. Humans were rare here, too rare to be dismissed, but too unpredictable to provoke. Or so they thought. She stopped at a merchant stall made of polished blackstone, stocked with plasma converters and nanofiber arrays. Marina glanced over the devices without much interest. She already knew which one she wanted. She pointed at a compact fusion coil. The merchant, a hulking 6-armed VRKSH, looked down at her with bulbous yellow eyes. "That one," she said. 250 credits. VRKSH let out a low clicking sound that could have been a laugh. "That model is 600. You must be confused, little mammal." Marina didn't blink. "It's a 3rd-gen core. You haven't cleaned the regulators. I'll need to replace the lattice mesh. 250 is generous." The alien loomed closer. "You bargain like a Threx scavenger. I should charge you double for that insult. I'd pay more if you knew how to maintain your inventory." Her voice was calm, tone precise. She didn't flinch when VRKSH leaned forward. "You insult my honor." His voice lowered. Marina didn't move. "Then do better." The air tightened. Alien vendors and shoppers nearby had paused, their antennae and eyes subtly turning toward the brewing confrontation. A few murmurs passed through the crowd. Another human provoking someone twice their size. Most had only heard the stories. Now they'd see one in action. VRKSH's upper arms twitched. With a grunt, he stepped around the stall and stood directly in front of her. Even at a distance, his scent was thick, like burnt ozone and iron. She could hear his claws scraping against each other. No more words. VRKSH growled, then swung his right arm. It wasn't a full strike, more of a blow meant to knock someone back, maybe bruise their pride and shoulder. His clawed fist hit Marina squarely in the upper chest and sent her stumbling backward into a low crate. She coughed, pain flaring in her ribs. Gasps exploded from the market crowd. She stayed down for only a second. Marina rose slowly, brushing off her coat. A shallow breath revealed nothing broken. She met VRKSH's eyes and said nothing. No curse, no threat. Just a steady, unnerving silence of a human who had endured worse. A reptilian vendor to the left muttered something in his native tongue. Another merchant backed up a step, antennae twitching nervously. They had seen something VRKSH hadn't. Marina straightened her shoulders. "Are we done?" VRKSH blinked. There was a flicker of uncertainty in his expression now. She hadn't screamed. She hadn't cried. She hadn't begged for security. "You want to file a complaint?" he sneered, more unsure now. "No." She stared directly into his eyes. "But you will." The murmur in the market grew louder. "I said we're done," she repeated, turning away. VRKSH didn't follow. He just stood there, like something cold had begun to crawl up his spine. Unseen by most, a slim communicator in Marina's pocket had already pinged. A silent signal had been sent to the station's internal security grid. No words, just a simple alert code. In another part of the station, her husband was already moving. But in this part of the market, Marina walked calmly, wincing slightly from a blow, but hiding it well. She paused at another stall. 3 meters of braided flux, she said to the vendor, as if nothing had happened. The trader hesitated before nodding quickly and gathering the materials. From the corner of her eye, she saw 2 station enforcers begin to approach. Not human, not helpful. They glanced at her, unsure, then looked toward VRKSH. Marina shook her head slightly and they stopped. Around her, eyes still watched. Whispers moved like wind through the crowd. She didn't fall. She got up after that. She didn't even retaliate. VRKSH stood frozen. There was something about how she hadn't fought back. No rage, no desperation, just precision, just calculation. It felt wrong. It felt dangerous. Somewhere deep in his instincts, honed from generations of survival in his species' harsh homeworld, VRKSH felt something he rarely encountered, doubt. The kind of doubt that meant you had no idea what was coming next. Marina collected the braided flux and paid without haggling. She tucked it into her bag and made one final glance back at the alien who had struck her. He was still watching her, but now there was no fire in his eyes. Just a slow realization that something about this moment had shifted the balance in ways he didn't understand. She turned and walked out of the market. Not fast, not slow, just measured. Every movement she made broadcast the same message. She didn't need to respond, because someone else was coming, and he was human. Elias was already moving before the alert fully processed through the station's network. The notification had pinged twice, one from the system, the other from Marina's private channel. She never used that channel, unless it mattered. He didn't ask questions. He ran. His boots pounded against the composite floors of Zephyria Station's main artery. Creatures of all shapes and sizes instinctively cleared the path, startled by the sheer momentum of a charging human. Elias wasn't the tallest officer on the station, nor the most physically intimidating, but he had presence, calm, focus, lethal. And unlike many stationed here, he wasn't trained to posture. He was trained to finish. He tore through junctions and supply walkways, bypassing confused station patrols still checking maps. The station AI tried offering assistance. He silenced it with a gesture. He didn't need directions. He knew exactly where she'd be. The market open ahead, still echoing with whispers. As he approached, the murmur dropped. Everyone saw him at once. Black uniform, sidearm holstered, no helmet, just Elias, scanning with pinpoint precision, eyes like weapon scopes, no wasted motion. He spotted her instantly. Marina stood near the edge of a stall, facing away from the crowd, holding her side like she'd brushed into something sharp. Her posture was calm, almost too calm. Elias's jaw clenched. A few seconds later, his eyes locked on VRKSH, towering, still frozen, still uncertain, still trying to understand what had happened. And now Elias was here. Two alien security enforcers stepped forward, confused by the shift in attention. One reached a hand toward Elias's shoulder to stop him. Mistake. Elias sidestepped, grabbed the alien's wrist and twisted. Not enough to break it, just enough to make a point. The enforcer gasped, stumbled back. The other raised a baton but hesitated. Elias didn't stop. He passed them both without a glance. Marina turned and saw him. She didn't speak. Didn't need to. Elias moved directly between her and VRKSH. The alien's 6 eyes adjusted, scanning him. VRKSH opened his mandibles to speak, then stopped. Elias was standing too close. Close enough that talking wasn't necessary anymore. VRKSH straightened. Your maid insulted my honor. She offered a fair price. You struck her. You hit her. Elias's voice was like a blade dragged across stone. The market silence again. VRKSH's muscles twitched. I demand honorable combat. Trial by strike. Elias tilted his head. Accepted. Marina didn't flinch. Neither did he. A wide semicircle had already formed. No one stepped in. No one spoke. The crowd wanted to see what happened when a human answered challenge. VRKSH grunted, removing the ornamental bracers from 2 of his forearms. You know nothing of our rules. I know you hit my wife. The crowd shuffled. The implication was clear. VRKSH had started something he could no longer control. Elias removed his jacket. Black, unmarked, folded in a single motion. He handed it to Marina. She took it wordlessly, keeping her gaze fixed on him. Do not kill him, she said under her breath. Elias didn't answer. He didn't need to. VRKSH flexed all 6 arms. Your kind is soft, bones like hollow reeds. Elias rolled his shoulders once. Try me? The alien lunged, a blur of gray and muscle. 4 arms lashed out in quick succession. 2 aimed high, 2 low. Most opponents would have been crushed instantly. Elias wasn't most. He slid under the strike, pivoted right, then drove his elbow into the side of VRKSH's lowest rib. The alien grunted, more surprised than hurt. A claw sliced at Elias's chest, missing by inches. The next blow caught his arm. Elias staggered back one step. The alien grinned, but then Elias grinned back. He darted left, kicked off a metal cart, and launched into a knee strike that collided with VRKSH's lower mandible. A wet crunch echoed through the air. VRKSH stumbled dazed. The crowd didn't cheer. They watched, silent, captivated by the fluid brutality unfolding in front of them. It was no longer about honor. This had become a lesson. VRKSH roared and charged again. Elias dropped low, pivoted under the swing, and planted both palms against the alien side. Then shifted. His balance, his weight, the momentum carried VRKSH forward, tripping over his own limbs. He crashed into a stone column, dazed. Elias didn't advance. He waited, centered, breathing in control. VRKSH rose slower this time. "What are you?" he growled. "A husband," Elias said. The alien blinked. Then something shifted. VRKSH stepped forward, this time slower. No more wild swings. He recognized something in Elias now. Not just speed, not just power. Focus, calculation. He circled, adjusting. And so did Elias. The dance continued. This time, every motion was razor precise. Each strike Elias landed was surgical. Pressure points, nerve clusters, joints. VRKSH landed 2 more heavy blows, one to Elias's ribs, another across his shoulder. Elias took them, absorbed them, and responded with sharper ones. Cleaner, meaner. The final sequence came fast. Elias feinted left, then pivoted right. A fast uppercut to the thoracic joint, then a palm to the central sternum. As VRKSH stumbled back, Elias grabbed his collar, turned, and slammed him face first into the alloy deck. Silence. VRKSH groaned, half conscious. He didn't move again. Elias stood straight, breathing once, twice. Then he extended a hand. VRKSH blinked up at him, confused, exhausted, and then humiliated. But Elias didn't lower his hand. After a long moment, VRKSH lifted one arm and accepted the grasp. Elias helped him up, then let go. He turned back toward Marina. She was already walking toward him. The crowd parted for her. No one said a word. Not yet. Marina and Elias walked side by side through the quiet corridors of the station. Neither spoke for a time. Words weren't needed. The sound of the market had faded behind them, replaced by the low hum of Zephyria's power cores and the occasional hiss of a pressure seal cycling in the distance. She kept her hand close to her ribs. He noticed but said nothing, not out of neglect, out of respect. She would say something if it mattered. She always did. They passed a patrol checkpoint. The 2 alien enforcers averted their eyes. One shifted awkwardly. The other tapped a datapad and pretended to look busy. Elias didn't slow. Marina didn't glance at them. It wasn't personal. It was just how things changed after someone witnessed what humans were truly capable of. Farther along, a thin, red-skinned Exworth child stood with her parent near a vendor kiosk. The child stared wide-eyed at the humans. Her parent placed a gentle hand over her shoulder and steered her away quickly, whispering something in a dialect not meant for translation. Elias exhaled slowly. "You're not limping," he said finally. Marina smirked. "I'm holding it in until no one's watching." He glanced at her. "You should have called me sooner. I didn't need you to fight for me." "I didn't fight for you," he replied. "I'd answered." She stopped and turned. "There's a difference?" He nodded. "You endured. I responded." Marina's expression softened for a second. "Then I'm glad you did." They resumed walking, heading toward a secure deck on the lower level. Few came down here. Only personnel with clearance or business that didn't require publicity. The hallway lights were dimmer, the air cooler. They entered a private terminal room. It sealed behind them with a pneumatic hiss. Elias tapped the console. Surveillance footage? Already queued. Already tagged. Dozens of camera angles played simultaneously. The incident in the market, the crowd, the silent standoff, and then the fight. Every frame documented. Marina crossed her arms. Station command will want a statement. They'll get it. Elias paused. But not from us. She raised a brow. He turned the monitor, displaying a separate feed, one from command headquarters. A recording was already playing, showing VRKSH Bandage standing before a tribunal of station administrators. His voice was subdued, not angry, not defiant. I invoked trial by strike, he said. I lost. I dishonor myself. I accept all consequences. Marina leaned forward. He didn't report us. No, he didn't. Why? Elias leaned against the wall. Because he finally understood. Silence lingered. Then Marina said, Understood what? That humans don't respond like others. We don't posture. We don't escalate first. We endure. Then we end it. That scares them more than anything. She nodded slowly. And now they'll tell stories. The footage on the screen shifted. Other markets. Other vendors. Aliens whispering. Hushed voices passing on fragments of what had happened. No embellishments yet, just facts. She got up. He didn't back down. They didn't scream. They didn't threaten. They just acted. It was spreading fast, unfiltered, unforced. A natural contagion of reputation. Stories move faster than fire in places like this, across species, across sectors. And when the story involved humans, it always grew teeth. Elias muted the monitors. We don't need to defend ourselves anymore. They'll do it for us now. Marina crossed her arms again. That's dangerous. Only for those who don't listen. She walked to the window, looking out into the stars. Ships moved in and out of the station's docking ports, casting brief flashes of light against the blackness. You know what this means, she said quietly. Elias nodded. We'll have more eyes on us. Curious ones. Dangerous ones. We've had worse. She turned back. So what now? He answered simply. Now we wait. A pause. Then he added, and we prepare, because the ones who come next won't just be merchants. They'll want to test the stories, to see how much of it is true. Marina sighed, then let them try. They stood together in the quiet, the silence between them built from years of understanding, and the certainty that whatever came next, they were ready. Because humans didn't seek war. They ended it. The days that followed were tense but quiet. The market seemed unchanged at first glance. Vendors called out prices. Aliens bartered goods, and the hum of Zephyria Station continued uninterrupted. But beneath the surface, something had shifted. Whispers followed Marina and Elias everywhere. Eyes lingered longer than necessary, and strangers made subtle detours to watch them pass. Some looked wary, others intrigued. A few simply avoided them altogether. The story of the fight had spread beyond the market, weaving its way through the station's intricate social web. Elias noticed it during his patrols. Groups of alien mercenaries, known for testing newcomers, began asking about the humans who didn't back down. Traders from distant systems brought up the incident in hushed tones, wondering aloud if the tales were true. Marina felt it most in quiet moments. The weight of eyes on her, when she moved through the halls. The unspoken challenge beneath every nod. The sudden respect that wasn't there before, wrapped tightly with suspicion. One evening, as they returned to their quarters, a message arrived. No sender, no signature, just a simple line. We are watching. Elias didn't flinch. Marina's hand tightened around his as they read the message together. They want to test us, she said. And we'll be ready, he replied. True to the warning, challenges came fast and unexpected. Small skirmishes with roaming gangs who sought to provoke. Encounters with customs officers bent on intimidation. Attempts to unsettle the humans with insults and minor violence. Each time, Elias and Marina responded, not with anger, but with measured strength and unyielding calm. Their reputation grew, not as monsters, but as forces to be reckoned with. Aliens who sought trouble soon learned that underestimating a human couple was a costly mistake. One afternoon, a delegation arrived at their quarters, representatives from multiple species, faces unreadable voice is carefully neutral. "We have heard of your resilience," the lead envoy said. Marina met their gaze evenly. "We protect what's ours." The envoy smiled faintly, almost respectfully. "It is clear you do more than survive." Elias stepped forward. "We do what must be done." A tense silence followed. Then the envoy nodded. "Then perhaps there's a place for humans here." Marina and Elias exchanged a brief glance. Neither trusted words yet, but actions had already spoken louder. From that day forward, the couple became symbols of endurance, of quiet power, of a human spirit that neither provocation nor violence could break. And Zephyria Station would never forget the day an alien punched a woman without knowing her husband was a human.